Hello and welcome back to another adventure. I'm starting things off on the Isle of Whithorn in Scotland, where I'll need to catch my own dinner tonight. Tomorrow, I will be wild camping near St. Bees, famous for marking the beginning of the coast-to-coast walking route. So, let's get into it, shall we? I've forgotten my tent pole. I'm gonna have to figure out a way to get this tent to work. These are my options. I might be able to use this to prop the tent up from the inside, and then I'll try these. That's actually not half bad. There's sort of enough space inside, if I can just figure out how to keep it up. Right, that's one guy rope in. I've taken a guy rope off and tied that to the net. The net is stuck to the outer part of the tent, which is then pulled down with a guy rope, and hopefully that will let it stay. I've used the side guy ropes to give it a little bit more space on the inside. I'll put the inner down as a ground sheet, and that's it. This is probably one of the saddest tent setups you've ever seen in your life, but I think it might work just for one night. And then tomorrow night, I'm gonna have to figure something a little bit better out than this. I could have had my tarp in, and that would have been easier. Could have put the tent pole in. That would have been a lot easier. But no, it's almost like I needed the challenge. The mat, the sleeping bag, and everything just inside. Time to go fishing and catch some dinner. Around here, shore anglers often hook mackerel, pollock, dogfish, gurnard, codling, wrasse, coalfish, and even the odd ray or conger eel. I'll be happy with anything though, as long as it means I'm not skipping a meal. I'm all set up in my fishing spot. I've got my lure on. Time to try and catch some fish. It's getting a little bit later on. Not caught anything. Cross your fingers for me, please. Right, let's get the rod back in. We're in. We've got one. It's not massive, but we've got some dinner. Yes, come on. Look at that. Get his big eye. I put a glow-in-the-dark lure on to help the fish see it, and it has worked. I've made another little friend. He popped just out of this little rock pool and he's come over here. And he's munching on the rest of the fish after I've gutted it. You enjoying that, pal? Is that a good bit of dinner? That bubbling sound you can hear from this common shore crab is it expelling water and air through its gill chambers as it feeds on the pyloric cassia, which are finger-like sacs branching off a fish's intestine. These are packed with digestive enzymes and nutrients. Some fish have just a few, while others have thousands. Got another one, but he's a bit small, so I'm going to chuck this one back and see if we can get a bigger one. Just caught a third one, but again, not very big. Off he goes. Got another beautiful fish, but again, not very big, so he's going back in. Pretty happy with that. Caught 4 fish, got one to eat. When I was gutting the fish, I did notice that my knife was starting to get a little bit blunt. One cool thing about this knife is it comes with a little sharpener on it. There we go, that's better. I trimmed off the fins and cut the fish in half so it would fit in my pan. There we go. With a simple click, the gas stove was lit, and I added some butter that I'd brought with me. Once the butter had started bubbling, I laid the fish in and cooked it until the meat turned white and flaky. Ooh. So apparently, you can eat the tail, and it's meant to be proper nice and crispy. Well, it's crunchy and bony. I think I'll give that a miss. Well, this is pretty good. Obviously I could do with a little bit more seasoning, but that's all I've got. I'd call that pretty well done. Lovely. Well then guys, it's past midnight. I've had my fish. It's time for sleep. See you in the morning. Good morning. I'm still inside this makeshift shelter as the rain's just started. This morning's challenge is that I've got to catch 3 fish before I'm allowed any breakfast. I've got this secret item, and once I've caught 3 fish, I'm allowed to unbox it and get a good cooking. So, pack stuff up, get back on the rocks, catch some fish. I've made it to the fishing spot. I've got a nice little shelf over here for all my stuff, and I have left my bag up the top of there. This is probably the worst time to come fish. I'm basically on about slack tide now, so it's at the lowest tide and there's not much flow. I've come somewhere where there's more kelp, so there might be some more fish. Just having some morning breakfast. This is the lure I'm going to start with today. Let's see how we get on. Finally caught fish numero uno. and we've got a little Ballan wrasse, and they have the most beautiful colours on them. Look at that, this absolutely beautiful fish. I tried a load of different lures, and then I decided I would use some limpets that you can see dotted around the rocks. I put a hook on with a little bit of weight, 2 more fish to go, and we unlock the item. We've got number 2, another little Ballan wrasse. Go chuck this guy back in, and then when we get number 3, we're unlocking that mystery item. We've got number 3! Oh, you can see the teeth on it though. Get that. I think that might be the biggest one yet. Well, that's 3. We've done it. Challenge completed. And I unlocked this item, the ultimate breakfast. Hey, come on. Still managed to keep my bait. Go see if we get another one. Hey, I've just caught a different species. I don't know what this is. If anybody knows what he is, let me know. What a cool colour. Right, off you pop, kiddie. Woo. It seems like this is going a bit better now. The tide started coming in quite fast, so it means that more fish are likely to be feeding, so I'm catching more. I've come down just onto the beach to get some food on the go. I'm definitely not going to eat all of this though. I'll just have a couple of each thing. Once I've had a bit of breakfast, we're heading to St. Bees and Fleswick Bay, and hopefully I can find a spot where I can do another tent bodge job. Yeah, this has been a lovely spot, and these square sausages are starting to look pretty good. I mean, look at this. What a fantastic meal. Next up, I've got some haggis and some sausages. Oh, it's delicious. I'll get this finished off. I'll tidy up, I'll get on the road, and I'll see you in St. Bees. I've had a look around and I saw a lot of ledges that you could camp on, ledges you could camp under, some pools of mussels and some other things. Seen lots of cool rocks. This line all the way around there is the high tide line, all the way up through here, and the caves are just there. They are below the high tide line, so I can't camp on those, but just up here is a ledge that I'm going to be able to camp under that I'm pretty sure will stay dry. Good news is I don't need the tent tonight. If it does rain, I should be sheltered under this little ledge. If this ain't real wild camping, I don't know what is. The tide is on its way out just now, but I've got no signal here, so I can't check to see when the tide is coming back in. I'm not going to risk it. I'm just going to make sure I'm above the high tide and yeah, do a bit of beachcombing. Maybe a bit of fishing. All right, let me go and show you my home for tonight. I'm going to use my ground sheet just to lay it down, and then I'll put all my bed stuff on it. I've commandeered some driftwood from a boat, I presume, to cover up this bit. There's a nice little breeze coming up from my feet as well, so that'll keep all the flies and midges away. I think this will do quite nicely. Hey, this is going to be class. Sometimes when a trip goes terribly wrong, might just have made this trip even more fun, because I would not have been looking for a spot like this had I got my tent pole. Fishing stuff and bedroom shoes down this end with the bag at the bottom to stop me falling down this little hill. Food section here with electrical section here, and first aid kit with my toiletries in here as well, right next to my bed. Let's show you what food we've got. We picked up a few things on the way. I've got more water, tablet from Scotland, I've got some beef jerky, pancakes for breakfast, chocolate raisin fudge just for a little snack, iron brew, jelly babies, multivitamin juice, and leftovers from breakfast for dinner. The rain is just stopping just here.
I've popped out to do a bit of fishing, but I've realised it's really rocky out there. You'll be able to see on the drone shots that this same colour rock that I'm on goes out quite far. So I'll just end up getting snagged and losing my lures. For now, I'm going to be checking out some rock pools, see what you can see in any of them, and maybe check out the cliff around a little bit further. There's meant to be some more birds around there, so we'll go and see if we can see some birds. It's really cool how water can just shape things. It just makes these really cool holes. That's got to be like 6 foot deep. You could jump in that and be over your head if you're less than 6 foot tall, obviously. For those of you who would be worried about slipping, the rocks with barnacles on them are actually super grippy. You'll have also noticed some of the writing that's on all of these rocks. And now the further I've gone, the less writing there is. I'm just wondering if anyone's actually ever walked this way before. For every big jump that I go down, I make sure that I've got a way to get back. Otherwise I would end up being stuck and have to actually climb or swim somewhere. And I'm not really feeling like getting wet today.
Out over the headland, kittiwakes were wheeling and diving through the updraft, flapping hard to catch the invisible currents before sweeping back to the cliffs in perfect synchrony, riding the air like it's their own endless roller coaster. The white street cliffs tell a less glamorous story.
We've had a look at everything up there. Now let's have a look at everything down there. I mean in the rock pools, not like, no, oh no. That is not what I meant. We're going to have a look at the rock pools on the way back. Inside that, there's some green seaweed, and that one you can eat. I think it might be called sea lettuce, but I could be wrong.
Under a rocky shelf, I spotted this bizarre structure created by honeycomb worms. They gather tiny grains of sand and coat them with a sticky protein-based secretion, which hardens quickly in seawater. They feed on plankton and other particles drifting in the water.
Came back, and it's time to get some food. I've got square sausage, black pudding, haggis, and fruit pudding for dinner. So let's get this started, shall we? First up, we're going to go with square sausage. While I'm eating my sausages, I'm going to put the puddings on, and the haggis and black pudding are almost done as well. Delicious. Square sausage over normal sausage every day of the week. And we've got the haggis and the black pudding. I have to admit, haggis over black pudding also every day of the week. Both are delicious. Last but not least, 2 fruit puddings. A little bit cremated on one side a little. I'm going to quickly polish these off and I'll bring you back when I'm getting into my bed. This does all seem a little bit ridiculous, just because I've got a tent pole. Hopefully I'll be dry all night. There's water coming through the rock with those drips, but I don't think that's going to get close enough. Oh, what a day. Good night guys, catch you in the morning. Good morning. I actually slept really well last night. I had a very comfortable sleep. And despite all the critters that I saw, I wasn't bothered by anything all night. Some of the water that's coming through the rocks got a little bit closer, but not enough to make everything wet. Just like that, I'm off. And in true fashion, I've decided to not walk the coastal path. I've got 1.5 miles to do, and I'm going to go all the way around the shoreline. If anything does get too difficult or dangerous, I will just turn back. But I reckon we got this.
Towering walls of red sandstone rose beside me, their layers stacked like pages in an ancient book. Each layer represents a specific time period, anything from a single season to a whole century, but without radio dating, it's impossible to tell for sure. What we know is that these cliffs were formed around 250 million years ago. The only footprints on the beach today were my own, trailing off into the distance behind me. I quite literally had the place to myself. Just me, the sea, and the sound of my steps. Then the boulder fields came into play, turning the coastline into a giant, unpredictable obstacle course. Massive rocks blocked the way, demanding leaps, scrambles, and careful footwork to dodge the ever-present threat of slippery green death below. Along the cliff, I also spotted razorbills, or auks, birds built for life at sea, yet returning here each year to nest on these rugged ledges. I pressed on beneath the cliffs, carefully picking my way across the boulders. I stuck to the barnacle-covered rocks, solid and steady, while the green, seaweed-slathered ones were begging to be slipped on, and I wasn't about to give them the satisfaction. Another cave, the kind you can easily imagine being used by smugglers a few hundred years ago. It really felt like this boulder field was never ending. And then, I stumbled upon something I'd never seen before. Wow, this is so cool. Look at these rocks. A section of sandstone, pitted with strange patterns, called honeycomb weathering, formed when sea spray deposits salt into tiny cracks and pores in the rock. As the salt crystals grow, they force the rock apart, while wind and water wear away the softer areas. Over time, the harder patches remain, leaving these intricate, almost reptile skin textures.
This has been loads of fun. Much more fun than the path I was walking on yesterday. I've seen so much cooler things from here, like the birds, the cliffs. Quite cool to see that people have been out here like hundreds of years ago and they've written something in the rock. 1912, we got 93. Oh, here's an old one. We got an 1800, 1895 E. Cooper. I've got something cool to show you in a little bit, so let's go and check that out. Right, here it is. So this bit here you can see used to be an outdoor pool. It was built in the 1930s and officially opened in 1934. It used to hold 80 gallons of water, 3.5 foot shallow end to a 7 foot deep end, and it also used to have a diving board on it. Its natural walls were closed in with some concrete so that people could go out and swim in it, which is pretty cool. Pensioners and unemployed people got to swim for free. Children paid 1 penny and adults paid 2 pence to enter. That's crazy. I think now that would be what, like a tenner each, because there's not really much to swim in. But I guess at full tide you can maybe go and have a little plunge. And with that, I'm going to call an end to this adventure. I'm going to wrap this one out here.
If you've enjoyed following along, drop a like and subscribe, as it really helps this new channel out. It also means you won't miss out on the next adventure too. There's more camping and adventure challenges coming soon. So I'll catch you in the next one. Take it easy.